What's up, guys? Leland here with Bottom Table Tyrants, and I wanted to go over my prep for a session. Now, I run one-shots a lot, so really this is all that I would need for my one-shot as well, but this also would encapsulate a session that usually I would say runs between 1 to 4 hours, but sometimes technically 1 to 8 hours, because I could use this one stack of cards that I create for 2 sessions, and that's kind of how I'm going to run this. And so let's go through what my prep entails. So first, I'm going to start off with a pre-game setup. The very first card in my stack of index cards that I make is a pre-game setup. It has me set up all of the maps I need on the table. I kind of stack them, usually in order of what I think they'll be. They may go out of order if the players decide to go to different places at different times. That's totally fine. You always got to be flexible. Then I'm going to set up, everyone's sheets, everyone's areas. Usually I give everyone pen and paper because I want them taking notes, so I want to encourage that as much as possible. I use like those fine tip Sharpies a lot because I have laminated sheets for their character sheets and stuff like that for them to use. So then I also have like rubbing alcohol and little cotton swabs so that they can erase things because sometimes they need to do that. But otherwise, I'm trying to give them as much prep time. I give them all the information and equipment that they might need. I usually kind of run everything of the player just has to show up. They don't have to remember anything. They have it all ready and waiting for them. And so the more you can do that, the better your session's going to be. The more you can kind of take out the variables of like, oh no, I left my character sheet. Oh no, I left my miniature. Oh no, I left my dice. Just have all that stuff ready for them as much as you can. Will definitely help everything run a little bit smoother, and so you can get going faster. That's the other thing. I usually let everybody kind of chit chat for the first like 15 minutes, get to say like, oh, what are you doing? Where are you working now? Just get everything out of the way that way. Then I go, okay, time to get serious. Let's roll. So pregame setup is all the things I want to set up before the players even get there so that my table is ready. I would say that setup usually probably takes about 30 minutes. I usually plan it so that I can get that stuff ready, and then people are knocking at my door, coming in, starting to get ready for the game. Next is going to be the first scene. Like, okay, how are we opening? Where are the characters at? If this is another session, you kind of have to reset their framework of like, okay, guys, if you remember from the last session, you guys were doing the bank heist, but you had gotten to this alleyway, and we'd pause the game right there in that alleyway. So you got to reset the story for them, remind them what they're doing, remind them usually what their main mission is, maybe what they've done, just what they had just gotten completed with. I like to go over kind of the NPCs that are important and at the current time, and then say, okay, and go. Next card is going to be that setup card. And then pretty much after that, at least in this setting, I have 18 cards here. I got a stack of 18 cards, and that's it. That covers me for about 8 hours. Because what I have now is just what I would call like a mini sandbox. I'm not going to control where they go, but I am going to have kind of a small area of town or a region that they could go in, and I'm going to plan for that. I'm going to know where the bank is, where the local gun store is, where I'm not talking like D&D setting. I'm just talking in general RPG settings here. All the different important places they need to go, the mob boss's hideout, things like that. And I kind of take the card. Let's take the very first card here. So this is a place. I just kind of label everything, and I give everything numbers so that I can kind of keep them in order. Usually kind of spiraling out from a central area. If they started in that alleyway that we used as an example earlier, I'm going to have my cards numbered from the closest items going further out away from that area for this session. So the first closest place where they're going to start in the street right outside of this casino temple. And on my card it says the Misfortune Temple. It's in the Silver Quarter. It's a place. And then I have some important NPCs. We got Kylo Nightbender. He has a back room here, and the code word to get in is Thicket. Next note I have on here is no one has stolen from this temple to the goddess of luck and lived. So that's just kind of a weird little like thing that the lore that these guys might know. They might know about it themselves, or they may learn about it if they go in there. Kind of maybe the security guards go like, hey, listen, don't try anything funny. No one has ever survived stealing from this place. Stuff like that. Just a little flavor piece to give them. And then the final piece is the casino chips that they use are hyena knuckles, which is important. This is from Spire, so hyenas are kind of a sacred animal in this realm, in this universe. And so hyena knuckles are used as the gambling coinage. So another piece of flavor to give them, because some players may see this as heresy. Some players may see this as like being a very powerful magic object, so they want to collect some of these hyena knuckles, stuff like that. So it's very important to them to know these things. I usually don't keep this as hidden knowledge. Usually, as they walk in, I kind of give them a lot of this information. I don't hold a lot of things back from my player characters. I want to give them as much information as I can. I also want to be descriptive. Probably the thing I'm missing on here is I want to describe that there's casino tables everywhere, there's craps going on, there's blackjack, or a fantasy version of these games. Some descriptions of the actual place itself is probably the thing I'm missing on this card, and I definitely want to put it on there so that you can describe it to them as they walk in. That's just good game mastering, being able to be descriptive. And you have to practice it. That's really the hardest part of all of this. If you have all this on here, give yourself a few things, and don't be afraid to take 30 seconds, read this card right before they go in, read all of it. Don't just hit the top point, stuff like that. Read the whole card, let them sit in silence or chat amongst themselves. Read everything and say, okay, we're going into the Misfortune Temple, and just get rolling like that. So always prep yourself. Don't be afraid to pause the game. I get going so fast that the game goes at a kinetic pace. It stresses out some of my players. I know that, because I have to stop myself and think and say, okay, remember what you wrote about this place, so you don't forget the fun details of it, and you don't forget those fun little lore pieces and those fun little flavor bits and those nice little descriptors of what this place looks like on the inside. So take your time, write it down, give yourself some little bullet points to remind yourself of what that should look like, and then go. Hopefully that helps, guys. Let me know if you have any questions over that RPG, card system that I use. I use it for everything. I have little stacks. I'll show you how thick this is. I have little stacks like this for every single adventure I do. And I collect them in a little index card binder, and I just have them labeled of like Spire, Adventure 1, D&D, Giant Adventure, Star Wars, Frost World, and I just put little things so I know exactly what it is, so I can turn to them, and I can take these anywhere. I can travel with these. If somebody wants to do a Star Wars adventure, I'll go grab that out of my little index card, and I can run to their house and run a game in like 30 minutes setup. So this really helps you go fast. You don't have to prep for weeks. These cards took me an evening to write. I sat there and wrote 18 cards while sitting in bed before I went to sleep. It took me about 45 minutes to just kind of put a little notes about what I was going to hit on these. I had a map out of the city, of the area around it, and just picked out fun places that they might go. Now, could they go outside of this? Definitely. And that's where you got to be the game master and control the narrative and kind of say, okay, you want to go completely off the map and go over to here? You got to let them do it, and you got to be ready to, just roll with it. So can they break out of this? Definitely they can. But most players, I guess all of these places are important to the adventure. So if they start going other places and wasting their time, that's fine. I would say I'm usually going to have encounters start to happen to pull them back into the adventure if they start to get off track. But otherwise, you got to let them do what they want to do. And some of my players will intentionally go to other places and be like, oh, I want to go down, to the dungeons down here. And even though I don't have a card for that set up, well, I got to roll with it, and I got to just keep going. And also, you can change these places. If the gangster was supposed to be at his hideout, but instead they go to the casino and you weren't planning on that, then the gangster can be at the casino gambling now. It's okay. You can keep rolling with the story. You just got to be flexible. Let me know what questions you guys got. Thank you. We love you. Don't forget, the circles and squares are going to pop up next as we finish this video. Please subscribe and check out some of our other videos. We appreciate it. Leland out.